So my wife, she divorces me after I called her cheating, and she lied about everything just so she could get custody of our kid. Well, you know what? I'm not going to sit back and just let that be okay. No, I'm going to take absolutely everything from her. Up until recently, I used to believe that I had the best life and that there was nothing more I could have wanted out of it. I was very happy living with my wife and son, and after years of hard working, things were looking good for our future. But my wife was single-handedly ruining all of that and has destroyed everything we built together for the last 7 years. In just about a month, my happy life has turned into an unbelievable nightmare, and there's nothing I can do about it. Let me provide some context so you can understand my situation clearly. I, 34, married my wife Evelyn, 33, about 7 years ago after dating for just about a year. Even though many of my friends and family told me that I should not hurry into it when it comes to marriage, I didn't listen because I was sure about her. Eve, for me, was the perfect person who I believed would stay with me forever. And honestly, for the last 7 years, she's never once proved me wrong or shown any signs of her real personality. A few years ago, we had our son, Brooke, and everything was just perfect in my life. Eve never once told me that she had any problems with me or our marriage, and I stupidly believed that she was happy. I also tried my best to be a good husband and a good father while providing for our family. Eve works from home while I have a job that requires me to work at night most days. I only get morning work a few days a week, and most of the other days I work from night to day. The situation I'm in right now started a month ago when I had to go home early because of a malfunction with the machine. When it started, it was just an ordinary day. I left my wife and son at the house to go to work around 5:30 in the evening. After that, I worked for a few hours until one of the machines started to mess up. No matter what me and my juniors did, we couldn't fix it, and I contacted one of the heads in charge who took a lead and told us to take the day off. So we went home happily. Since it was only close to 11, I knew that my wife would not be asleep, so I didn't call. I brought some dinner for myself and went straight home, as I wanted to surprise my wife, so I was about to reach my destination, and I saw something that turned my entire world upside down. I had to pinch myself to see if what I was actually seeing was true and if I was not living in a nightmare. As soon as I got close to my house, I saw a guy leaving after hugging my wife at the door. I'd already turned my car off as soon as I saw some movement in front of my house because I wanted to surprise my wife. They went to his car, which was parked a little further ahead, and my wife waved to him until he left. After she closed the door, I kept driving around and around trying to make excuses for what I just saw. Now, it's probably clear to all of you that my wife was cheating, but it was not easy for me to accept it, and I did not want to believe that my wife was cheating on me and that she had betrayed my trust like this. After a few hours, I went home and there was no trace of anyone being there. I could not sleep the whole night, and in the morning I asked my wife if everything was okay. She said yes, the same way she said many years in a row, which gave me both relief and concern. Even though I did not want to believe what happened last night, I also could not ignore it. So the next day I called in sick and still went out to work to see what my wife was doing behind my back. I went out and parked my car at a nearby place while I waited to see the same thing as yesterday and see if it would happen. After about a few hours, probably after our son goes to sleep, I saw the same car pull up slowly, and the same guy hopped out of the car. My wife happily opened the door and let him in, which totally broke my heart. I was so sad that I could not even confront her. I went out and drank and kept drinking until the bartender told me that he's cutting me off. I could not drive back home, so I called an Uber. Went home, slept on the couch, and as soon as my son left for school, I asked my wife what I had done to deserve this. She was very confused and asked me what's going on, and I told her that I knew she's cheating on me probably every day. And I asked what I had done wrong. Even after confidently telling her that she was cheating on me, she said that she had no idea what I'm going on about and told me I've lost my damn marbles. Well, this made me more mad, and I asked her to tell me everything, as after everything that she had done, I at least deserved to know why. But she kept acting stupid. So I kept asking her why and told her that I would not let her go to work unless she tells me why she did all of this instead of being happy that I have thrown her out of the house. Even though she had completely destroyed our marriage, She had the audacity to get mad at me. She tells me that I was annoying her with my accusations and told me to get out of her face. I told her that if she thought that I would let this go so easily, then she was the one who had lost her damn mind. I said that I was never going to let this go and she was going to regret playing me like a fool. I explained to her that I made a mistake trusting her, and I would never trust her again. When she was probably sure that I was not going to get manipulated by her, she packed her stuff up and left. I have no idea if she went to her parents' house or her boyfriend's, and I didn't care enough to check either. I was just happy that she left on her own and I didn't have to throw her out. The next day, her parents called me asking what happened. I told them everything and asked them to tell Eve that I still wanted an explanation. They told me that I'd probably made a mistake, that their daughter was not capable of this, and I said that I felt the same way until I saw her take a guy into our house happily. They were understandably not happy with me accusing their daughter of cheating, but I was in such a state that I could not care about how they felt. At that point, I did not think about what I was going to do next, as I was too sad to plan anything. I also had to take care of my son while going to work. For anybody concerned, I told my son something close to the truth. I told him that his mother had left us to live with someone else, and he was just as sad as me. I don't care if it was bad parenting, but I was not going to lie to my son in a time when he was going to understand anyways. She did not contact us for 2 weeks and did not even call once to check on Brooke. The only time she called was to ask me if I had gone back to normal, and I told her that she was not welcome here anymore. Almost a week after that, she shocked me by filing for divorce, since I did not think that she would have the audacity to do something like this. Well, the funny thing is that she wants to take custody of Brooke, so she gets a share of the things and money that I have. I've refused to give her custody, and she's taking me to court over it. I'm heartbroken that she would not only cheat, but also do something like this just for money. Right now, I have no idea what I can do in the situation, and I don't even know if I can win custody of my son. Since I'm not at home at night because of my work, I don't know if I can win this thing for sure or not. Also, I feel stupid for not taking any evidence of her cheating, but I didn't know that I would have to use it against her. If anybody has any good ideas, please let me know. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's been almost a month since my last update, and unfortunately, things did not go my way. And not only did things not go how I wanted, everything got a million times worse. It turns out Eve is even worse of a person than I previously believed. I never imagined how low she would go to win the money. As you all know from my post, I was about to fight a custody battle for my child as my wife had filed for a divorce. I did agree with the divorce since I would have divorced her a bit later anyways, but I refused to give her anything and also wanted to keep my son with me. And she took me to court because of it, guys. I was not going to even be convinced that I was going to go through with winning the custody. But, my friends and all of my relatives, they convinced me that I would win since she was the reason for the divorce anyways. So I told myself, alright. I started to plan how I was going to raise my son after I officially got his custody. So, on the day I met Eve, she seemed a lot more confident than me, and she said that something that made me hate her even more. She said that she was going to take good care of Brooke, and she was only after my money, and she said that she would enjoy making me sad and would be happy to see me live alone. Well, I'll be honest with you guys, it made me feel like she had completely changed into a different person. If she hated me this much, then why did she live with me every day? I could not and still can't understand it, and as you can imagine, this definitely broke me because no matter what, I still had some love for her. But things got worse in court because she told everyone that the reason she didn't want to stay with me was because I abused her. She said that I emotionally abused her and sometimes it turned physical. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'd never thought of hitting her and probably never would have caused her any stress. Well, as you can imagine, I was definitely not prepared to handle this, especially with her parents and friends testifying against me. These were the same people who I had spent lots of time with, but now they were lying openly, saying that they had an idea of what Eve was going through even. I was very close to breaking down, but still somehow managed to try to defend myself. But nobody believed my story. My wife said that I had somehow built doubt in my head against her, and had even kicked her out of the home, after which she got tired of taking my side and filed for a divorce. As soon as I saw that kind of support she had, I knew it was over for me, and I was not even surprised when it was decided that she would get the custody. I also had to give her half of everything, which I was prepared to give away anyways. It's been a week since then, and I've not even gone into work. But unfortunately, my boss understands, and I can still get to see my son from time to time. But Eve has told me that she's going to make it as hard as she can for me to get to see him. I have no clue what I can even do now. I'll let you know if something else happens. Update number 2. Hello guys. Well, just so you know, I hope you're doing better than me because things at this end have been truly horrible. It's been a few weeks since my last update, and I'm probably at the lowest point I've ever experienced in my life, so let me go ahead and explain. A few days after my last update, a local news person contacted Eve for an interview. She took it, happily. She did not even once think about how many problems this could cause me, even after doing all of this to me. It was not clear before, and it's clear to me now, though, that she had not even gotten pregnant. She would not have stayed married to me for long. Also, the sad thing is that I don't even think that she needs the abuse claim to get custody. I think she just did it to ruin my life and credibility even, which she has succeeded in doing more or less. Because some of my relatives and even friends believe her. They seem to think that it would be very weird for her to do this without any reason at all, especially since she filed a divorce first. For anyone wondering, after my last update, I did call my in-laws and one of Eve's friends whom I knew more than the other. Father-in-law picked up my call and I asked him why he had done this to me, and he acted like he believed her. It was the same with her friend, but I think she actually believed her, because she said that I should be ashamed to even be alive. Well, coming back to the interview now. As soon as it was released, it hit me like a natural disaster. My friends and relatives who were already on the fence saw it and believed her. They started distancing themselves from me, and I understood and did not force them to support me. I believe that I should not have to explain to the people who know and trust me that I, did not do any of this. Because of the unfortunate luck, the video ended up going a little viral in the local area, and I started getting a lot of hate on my social media. My life has literally turned into an absolute nightmare. Also, because many of the people started complaining to my company about hiring an abuser, they had to let me go. My boss called me in and told me he knew that I was innocent, but his hands were tied since the order was from above. I told him that I would prove my innocence, and he said he would gladly welcome me back, but until then the company could not risk employing me. It's been a week since I got fired, and as you can probably understand, I've not been doing very well. I don't feel like going outside because I'm constantly scared that I'll be recognized and dragged for something I never even thought of doing. I still have a select few people who believe and support me. They're probably the only reason I'm still hanging on and have gone off the deep end yet. I don't even know if I'm going to make another update because I have no idea how I can even recover from all this. But I will not stop looking for a way to prove my innocence and get my son back. Hopefully, if I make the next update, I'll have less depressive news. Update number 3. Hey guys, I've always heard but never believed the phrase that every cloud has a silver lining. But now I do. It's been a little more than 3 weeks, and even though my cloud has a lot of unbelievable darkness, it's also brought this silver lining. The same interview that caused me so many problems has now given me a way to get back at Eve. You see, a few days after my last update, one of my good childhood friends, Travis, contacted me to, ski what happened. It turns out he was in the area scouting someplace to open up a branch or something, and happened to see Eve's interview. In the interview, they also showed my name and photo, so he recognized me and managed to get my contact information from my workplace. So, Travis and I studied together when we were young. But after his dad's business boomed, he moved overseas with him, and I had not seen him since. I had completely forgotten about him because we had not made contact for a very long time. So we met in a bar, and I told him everything that happened, and he was very sad and angry at the same time. He asked me if I planned on sulking till I got old or if I wanted to do something about it and get my kid back. As soon as I said yes, he asked me if, he could help. Since he's pretty well off, I assumed he was asking to help me financially, and I declined it. I told him the kind of help I needed he could not provide, and he told me to just ask. I could not ask him to do what I thought of in my head because it was a little too much for him, but since he kept nagging, I told him. Well, to my surprise, he immediately agreed, but asked me to give him a few days to finish up his work here and extend his visit. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I told him, well, there's no reason for him to do this for me. Then he brought up some old stuff and reminded me how I had once saved him from a feral raccoon. Even though I was scared, he then told me that this was a favor that he would repay one day, but before he could do it, he moved. He said that this was a chance for him to repay that favor and help a friend in need. And when he said that, I was so moved that I had tears in my eyes, and then I told him that he had gotten really good at these emotional motivation speeches, and he laughed. I assumed you guys wanted to know what I asked him to do. So please don't get mad at me, but I've asked him to seduce my greedy wife by showing his money in order to collect any kind of proof that he can to help me. I know it's not the best way to do things, but I believe that I don't have any other way. Right now, with my help, he's been speaking to my wife for about 2 weeks. And although she was skeptical at first, she slowly started walking towards my trap. She almost fell for it, but her greed did not let her walk away. I finally have a chance, and now I just need to stay patient. I'll let you guys know what I get from her. Final updates. Update number 4. Hey guys, well, it's me. I apologize for the late update, and I know it's been about 3 months since my last one. But if you remember, I already mentioned that patience was key for my plan to work. So here's everything that happened. Almost a week after my last update, Eve and Travis had their first date, and it was tough. But things ended up working out. Travis then had to leave for a few weeks for a trip, but he just straight up continued talking to her through the text and calls. This led to something that I've never imagined could happen. Both me and Travis noticed that Eve was falling for him, and it was probably mainly due to his money. After he came back, they went on more dates, and although it felt a bit of a trickery like this, I kept telling myself that she deserved it. A month passed, and by this time she had completely fallen for him, but we still had to get some proof. I also got to see my son a few times, which was good, but we were getting nowhere, and Travis did not have much time left. So one day we decided that we needed to push her a little bit, and that night Travis told her that he had just seen the interview and asked her about it. Well, she obviously mentioned me before, but had never told him what actually happened. For some reason, she decided to open up with Travis and tell him the entire truth. I mean, everything from how she was cheating with another guy, and I caught her, and she framed me to take custody of our son. But she said that she regretted everything, and did all of this because she was unhappy with the marriage. She said this to gain his sympathy and made it look like she was trying to get, better. Travis was recording all of it, and after he sent it to me, I told him to go ahead with the end plan. So that night, he proposed to Eve without a ring, and he said that he could not wait any longer, and she basically shouted yes. For a few weeks, we let her run around in her dream before turning it into a nightmare. And on the day of the engagement, in front of many of our relatives and friends, he announced that he was not going through with it. He said he could not marry a lying, cheating, manipulative person like Eve, and had left here crying and straight up humiliated. He didn't tell her the real reason because I was not done with her yet. I was not going to give her a day of rest even, as immediately the next day I filed a defamation case against her for every lie she spread and also to take back custody. She was very surprised that I did it, but was very confident that I would lose, because I didn't have anything. Honestly, I wish I could have recorded her reaction when she heard the recording of her admitting to everything because she was shocked. It was very close to how I felt when she surprised me with accusations. With a little push and a really convincing testimony from Travis, she lost the case just as easily as I had before. I'm not only getting custody and everything I have given her back, but she is also ordered to pay me extra for the damages that she caused. You know, when we went outside, she could not believe what I had done and how I had done it and kept begging me to tell her. But I refused to even speak to her and asked her to give back my son as soon as possible. Guys, she started crying and I left. It's been a few weeks since then and everything's gotten better for me. My son is back and I got a job back too with a raise for the trouble that I had to go through. Also, the new people, called me, and they took down the interview and offered me one. But I declined as I believe I have hurt Eve enough. Many of my relatives and friends have called and apologized to me too. I'm just happy that I got through with all this. Obviously, for that, I have you guys and Travis to thank. I don't know how Eve is doing or if she's ever going to visit Brooke. Honestly, I don't care, and I'm trying to focus on giving my son nothing more than a good life. This is an interesting comment to check out. It says, range over, I don't know about anybody else, but getting your friend to seduce your wife felt like it was a little over the line for me. I don't know. I understand what position you were in, OP, and you felt like you had no choice, but I want you to remember that it doesn't make it right either. Also, after you got everything, you asked your friend to continue this game so that you could hurt and embarrass her further, which makes me believe that you're no better than she is. Guys, do you agree with that comment, or do you think, OP did exactly what OP needed to do? Drop your comments down below and let's talk about this one. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every single day. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.